Hi folks, today we're going to take a look at auditing Reno 911. This is the same Frauditor I covered last year that put a copyright strike on me for calling him out when he did a dumb at the Nevada State Prison. But before we start today's video, a quick thank you to all my current channel members and subscribers. Without you guys and your support, I couldn't keep the channel going. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on live streams and videos. Leave a like and a comment because it helps with the algorithm, and if you can, consider becoming a member. It's a great way to show your support for me and the channel. With all that being said, let's enjoy today's video.
Just want to let you know we have a judicial order. You cannot film inside the horseshoe area.
You can't film inside which portion?
This horseshoe area right here. You're welcome.
Ooh, access denied.
Stay outside and film.
Well, hang on a second. Can I ask some questions?
Sure, come on out. We'll talk.
Well, let's stand right here for a second, right?
I don't want to block the doors.
No, I don't want to block the door either. But if we're going to have issues filming, I need to ask some questions.
Of course, sir.
First of all, what's your name and your badge number?
My name is Shane Caduti, and badge number is 9403.
And sir, your name and badge number?
Baker.
Okay.
13083.
Do you have a copy of the court order showing
Sure
that we
do.
can't
Right
film in
there,
there?
sir.
Oh, let's go take a look at this. So is this considered a courtroom then?
It's not considered a courtroom, but because of the sensitive nature of the information that's passed through there, they just asked that the judicial order be passed that no filming occurs in there or on the second floor, sir.
Okay. And is that under threat of arrest?
It is, sir.
So that's under the threat of arrest?
Well, what I would first ask you is to leave, and then if you refuse to leave...
Right. I recognize
and
that.
I would hope not to have to go...
Well, I just wanted to clarify the threat of arrest, and if I do need to bring a motion before the court and have them determine the constitutionality of the order, there needs to be accountability. Because
Now, I've covered this particular frauditor once before. Last year, he went to a Nevada State Prison where he was told to leave the property and did not and was forcefully arrested. He also put a false copyright strike on me, and I won that successfully. However, in this case, the Chief Justice has put out a court order stopping people from recording in the clerk's office there and on the second floor. Now, it is totally valid and legal and constitutional for that judge to do so.
because in your position, are you aware of NRS 171-1233?
I am, sir.
What does that say?
Go ahead and explain what you feel it is.
Well, I asked you the question. You said you're aware of it. You're a law enforcement officer.
I am aware of it, but what we operate under here, sir, is 203119.
Right. I recognize that, but are you a peace officer still?
I am, sir.
So does that order conflict with that law?
No, it doesn't.
And what does that law say then?
The order says, and the law is actually stated in the 9th District Court of Appeals and the Nevada Supreme Court.
Okay. And here at the entrance, what I'm noticing right here,
What's that?
I'm just looking at the entrance right here to see if anything is noticed to the public that you can't record.
The signs have currently been ordered, sir. This was just instituted approximately 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so two weeks ago they did that.
Yes,
And do you know what caused them to restrict freedom of the press within that horseshoe area, you call it?
From my understanding, sir, is what happened was there was somebody that was overly aggressive and was trying to put his filming technology of some sort behind the partition area and filming stuff behind the partition.
Well, don't existing laws and court precedent already address going past barriers and areas that say restricted, no trespassing, counters, things like that block access? Doesn't law and current and past court precedent already address those issues? So why do we need to restrict everybody for one person's negative actions?
Are you stupid or something?
Clearly, somebody didn't pay attention to what this court officer had said. Yes, somebody did take a recording device, more than likely a camera on a gimbal or maybe a cell phone or something, and stuck it behind the counter of the court clerk's counter to get information they weren't supposed to, causing the chief judge to institute that new policy. Yes, it is valid for them to do so, and yes, this just even proves even more that the frauditors do not care about the signs and the restrictions of the Constitution. It's all about getting the content they want for their channels. Because if somebody were to violate such a blatant policy, what's to stop them from violating anyone else's rights?
I totally understand what you're saying, sir. This went all the way up to our chief judge. Our chief judge was the one that made the decision. I am the one that's supposed to enforce it.
Okay.
Like you said, if you want to take it through the courts, that is your right, and I totally respect that right. I'm just telling you what the chief judge has signed. The backing behind the 9th District Court of Appeals and the Nevada Supreme Court would state we can restrict certain areas in the courthouse.
Right.
First Amendment protest, filming, stuff like that. And so I'm just telling you, that's why I want to provide you a copy.
And courts are a different place than a lot of other places.
Of course.
The judge's courtroom specifically is a sacrosanct area that the judge has absolute control over.
Yes, sir.
But what I'm seeing right here is this is a public area where the public can come in. Are there any public documents there, like say?
There is public documents that are being passed.
So public, no, what I'm saying is public notices, things like that are open to the public, things that would tell the public how to bring a case forward, any forms or documents people would need to receive. Are any of those things available in this area?
And it depends on which one specifically you are referring to. I know there is, especially in the civil docket, that there is civil dockets that people can gain access to.
So if I, as a member of the press, wanted to go and gather those documents, disseminate them to the public, I'm no longer able to do that under the First Amendment.
If you are a member of the press, you can put in a written request if you'd like to use filming technology in this area to our chief judge 48 hours in advance.
So what you're saying?
Well, let's go with this. You are not press. You are a frauditor, first and foremost. Secondly, the court officer has told you, due to the fact that somebody tried to extend a recording device beyond the counters of the court clerk's office, that the chief judge had to institute this new policy. They are not preventing you from recording in there. He's even told you, if you write give them 48 hours with a written permit to ask for written permission to film in that area, they will more likely grant it to you. You just can't film in there on your own at this time due to the actions of one individual. An argument that a lot of people in this community and on this side of the aisle have said is because of the frauditors, they will effectively get our rights taken away. This is a clear example of that process.
Is the court restricts the access to the press where there's public documentation available on how to file suits and petition their government.
I'm telling you that is the lawful order that was given by the chief judge with the backing of the 9th District Court of Appeals and the Nevada Supreme Court to restrict certain areas of the courthouse to filming because of sensitive documents, people's personal information, children, and victims' rights.
Okay.
And so that's why I want to provide you with the policy.
Right.
I agree.
I appreciate all the answers because what I'm really looking at is here, any of these court documents that are filed, aren't they really public information unless the court sealed them?
Some of them are and some of them aren't, depending on like you said, the sensitive nature of the document.
Right, but if they're court sealed documents, aren't they generally have a cover sheet over the top of them when you turn them in?
Not necessarily, no. There's a lot of people's personal financial information stuff that
Whose fault would that be? Not our fault.
I understand what you're saying.
So
By the way, who's the chief justice that signed
It
it?
is Judge Pearson, sir, Scott Pearson, and it's on there with his information.
yeah, we'll take a look at that in a little while. But basically, they're refusing my access, so I need to stand at the curtilage here.
If you want to stand right over here, as long as
Or
you
right by the door.
and you can film him going inside.
I don't block people. Okay, well, I don't want to threaten, since you said it's under threat of arrest, I have no other choice but to obey. I don't want to break the law.
And the threat of arrest, sir, is, and you've been totally 100% honest with me. I'm being honest with you. If you cross that threshold with any body part involving a camera, that's where the threat of arrest would come in.
Okay.
If you stand out here, you're welcome to stand there. You're welcome to give an interview like you were over doing there. We have no problem with that.
So if I gave him permission to film me while I'm doing my transaction of submitting these paperwork for the docket for the courts,
Yes, sir.
I could give him permission and therefore the violation of individual rights wouldn't be at risk.
No,
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
that's incorrect, sir. The only person that can give him permission to step in there with video recording is the chief judge. And that's per
There's something
that.
wrong with that, because I mean, if I authorized him to do it and there was nobody else at the windows.
I understand what you're saying, but if there's other people in there, he was able to get credit card information or whatever, just because they're at the window next to you, that's what the chief judge is looking out for.
Getting credit card information is
People are
the,
putting credit card information on the pads, people are submitting personal information about their current
so
situation.
this is more protected than me than going to Walmart and entering my credit. What's the difference between going to Walmart and entering your credit card
I don't know if
information?
Walmart allow you to film while you're
Yes.
while you're in Walmart.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. Now, there's a major difference between recording in a courthouse and a private business such as Walmart. However, the argument that you're making won't hold any water. See, the Ninth Circuit and the Nevada State Supreme Court have decided that this Chief Judge's order does not violate the Constitution of the United States. Therefore, it is legal for him to enforce this rule. Just because he's trying to protect people's credit card information and personal identification does not mean you have the right to go boo-hoo because they won't let you have your way.
And that's Walmart's
Or
policy.
what's the difference between going to DMV, where they do credit card information all the time, and
And from my knowledge,
So-
maybe it's
so-
changed. I heard
so
somebody
if-
doesn't allow filming inside the actual DMV.
Well, they don't have the authority to create that ruling. It's a public place.
I
They have a
understand.
public accommodation, and accommodate everybody who comes in.
and
And you guys are very knowledgeable. Just like any constitutional amendment, there's always restrictions that are put.
well, you're looking at time, place, and you're
Whether we
looking
agree with them or not, is what I'm saying.
you're looking at time, place, and manner.
Like the Second Amendment, they put restrictions, you can't bring a gun in here. You can't bring a gun in certain private places. That's not what you have to
I'm
do.
going to have to slightly disagree with you. If you look at the recent Supreme Court ruling in Bruin, and what that says is
I
that
didn't get that rule. What did it say, sir?
basically what the Supreme Court has said is all of these new laws that states have implemented, you have to go back at the history up until 1791 when the Second Amendment was placed in effect, and any restrictions that were lawful then are lawful now, but any restrictions that have subsequently been made lawful are not lawful
I didn't know that.
and
rule. When did that rule take
unconstitutional.
place?
That ruling was just within the last year.
Wow.
It's the Bruin
And
ruling.
I just got documents sent to me saying the exact same thing about the 1791 Constitution.
Wow.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. Yeah, we're going to have to call some shenanigans here because he's cherry picking some of the information. If you actually Google the Bruin ruling, you can actually find out this: that it was a 6-3 decision deeming that New York State's law to restrict certain people from concealed carry was unconstitutional. But it also stated that it does give states the right to regulate for concealed carry. His argument has no validity here in this case. This is about filming inside an area that has been deemed restricted by the Chief Judge, which has the backing not only of the state Supreme Court, but the Ninth Circuit Court.
Interesting.
So-
Honestly, I haven't been made aware of that.
So as you're looking at our Constitution, but would our Supreme Court hold that same ruling true in freedom of press?
Right.
Now, I'm operating under freedom of press. You can operate under freedom of press.
Of course. And you've told me that, and I respect that.
Each of us can operate under any of the 5 prongs of the First Amendment. I'm operating under the freedom of press. When you're talking about protests or things like that, you can expel me from a public place if I'm being a hindrance or an annoyance or climbing over counters as you described.
Which is the 203-119 law.
But that's an individual thing. One person did that. So what the court is saying now is since one person did this, we're going to restrict everybody's constitutional right.
Yes, because one frauditor crossed the line has now restricted everyone else's ability to exercise that particular right because of it. This is something people in the community have been saying for years. And now we have proof of it because this courthouse had to have the chief judge put out this court order, which has been valid again, I say again, for like the 3rd time, by the Ninth Circuit and the state Supreme Court to be deemed constitutional. If the frauditor here does not like the fact that he can't film, he should take a look at his own community and look at their actions and say we should be setting ourselves to a higher standard.
I'm just telling you what I was privy to with the information. I don't make these decisions.
I
As you know, just like-
understand.
But there's a ruling by Ruth Bader Ginsburg in 1999 in reference to the violation of the Fourth Amendment. And she said she would have ruled not in favor of what they brought in because it was individualized suspicion.
Okay.
You cannot violate our rights under generalized suspicion. Otherwise, if I come in and you're going, we think everyone's a suspect. That's a violation of the very ruling that Ruth Bader Ginsburg did in 1999.
Dude, you guys are great history buffs. I love this. I mean, I love the history too. I actually majored in it for a while, so I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Well, we don't care about history. We're interested in justice and our rights.
And I totally understand that, sir.
And
the thing is if you're welcome to take this into court. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you guys, not to do your civil duty or patriotic duty and take it through the courts. I'm just telling you what the chief judge signed. I work for the chief judge.
Right.
I got the backing of the 9th District Court of Appeals in there and the Nevada Supreme Court.
Well, the problem is you've taken a nose to uphold the Constitution.
Right.
And
So,
this.
let's get into the Nevada Constitution, because I've got freedom of press under that Constitution too. So then let's look at Nevada case law. And are you aware of Mack versus Williams? It was issued December 29th of 2022.
I'm not, sir.
So what Mack versus Williams was, or is a case that was brought under the Fourth Amendment by a gal that went to the Nevada Department of Corrections. And she went to go see somebody there, and she was strip searched and squat and cough and all that other good stuff. And then they denied her access to the person she was there to see, and she filed a lawsuit. The long and the short of that, the Nevada Supreme Court got a hold of it, and what they declared was that there is no qualified immunity in the state of Nevada, and that you can sue government employees personally, and that there is no protection, even though that the legislature hasn't created those laws yet, and that the courts will look at those. And so,
Now, are you bringing this up just so you can try to intimidate this court officer to allow you to violate the chief judge's order? Because that's what it sounds like. In Mack v. Williams, it was all about if she had the right to sue the individuals of the High Point Desert Prison and the Department of Corrections, which the Nevada Supreme Court did say they did not have qualified immunity in this particular case. Now, why bring this up? It has nothing to do with the First Amendment. That was a Fourth Amendment search and seizure argument. This is just you trying to intimidate and say, if you don't let me do this, I will take away your money.
when I put that together, and I advise you of 171-1233 under the Nevada Revised Statute, which says that you as a peace officer cannot interfere with my filming, so that's a violation of the law.
Okay.
So the court may tell you something, but if the court hasn't gotten that through the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit, you would probably agree, overrules this court, as opposed to upholding the Constitution. And then you look at the cases of Fordyce versus Seattle, and there's a few others out there, and what they've said about recording in public spaces. So now this is an interesting area, because this is a public area to access the courts and petition. So this is not a judge's chambers, this is not a courtroom, this is a public accessible area, and it sounds to me, based on your explanation, the reason it's done is so that I can't get people's credit card numbers.
Not just that, sir. Any other sensitive information, victims' information, stuff like that.
Well, but victims' information is all public information.
Not
The fuck are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about?
necessarily. Depends
Well,
on if the victim's underage or not, or if any other circumstances.
Yeah, but
like
most of these cases, I can go find the court, find the case number, go look information and find out what that is. And who's...
There's nobody in there. There's no way that you can say, go in there with us, stand there with us, if something comes up, all right, you need to leave.
Sir, I'm just telling you what you agree, I uphold the Constitution. The 9th District Court of Appeals says a judge can do this. That's written in there, in that judicial order that was issued. So I am going to uphold
they
the
can,
judge's order.
so
based on those
and
orders.
I haven't studied this, and I will go
Yeah.
home and study this, but basically what you're saying is the courts have said that a judge can make any area within a public building off limits.
It doesn't say any area. He has to have good reasoning to do so.
Good reasoning to do so, and the good reasoning to do so is because another individual went in there and was, let me put it very bluntly, an asshole, and you could have arrested him for crossing over the counter, right?
He didn't, well, I don't know the particulars of the situation. I'm just saying that there was other people, he was one of them, that were going in there and trying to aggressively film areas that were prohibited to be
Well,
filmed.
and who determined what was aggressive? was there any due process? Was there a court hearing on any of that? Was the
Well, I
individual
think,
put in front of a judge?
No, there wasn't the actual court hearing yet.
So what due process was used to determine that it wasn't the feelings of the people in there saying, I'm uncomfortable, versus the reality of, say, I walk in there and I stand back and I just record everything. And people say that they're not comfortable with that because, let's say, an employee doesn't like it, so they start to make a situation, and this happens all the time, where the government employee says that they don't want to be recorded, so they stop helping the people just because somebody's standing there with a camera. When they should uphold the Constitution, we should have open, transparent government so that we, the people, can know what's going on. And why should so much information in the courts that are public be kept private?
I'm not disagreeing with you at all with that, but I'm just saying I'm upholding to what the 9th District Court has given.
Let's get it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to go to jail, so I'm going to stand right there and I'm going to watch you because I've got.
And I'll stand out of the way. If you want to go on in and you can film from this location, that's more than fine with me.
Because that pretty much, when you tell me it's under threat of arrest, then you do strip some qualified immunity from yourself.
Okay, and that's fine, sir.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to take it through a lawsuit, I have no problem with that.
I'll talk to the attorney and we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to end it here. He does not go into there to film. He stands outside by the doorway to film his friend, file whatever paperwork he's going to file. Yes, I do agree that we do deserve an open and transparent government. However, due to the frauditors' behavior and, well, in this case, the ones who decided to aggressively film and extend where they shouldn't have been, have ruined it for a lot of people. So if you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up and a comment because it helps me with the algorithm. And if you haven't already, please consider becoming a member. With all that being said, be well, be safe, and I'll see you guys. And a special thank you to all members of the news team. Without your guys' support, I couldn't keep the channel going. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.